Going to attempt to do an experience report on amphetamine, but have fairly limited experience with amphetamine itself as a compound, and have only had this sticky slash gooey variety, if that makes sense to you. I'm aware that it comes in powder form as well, and did at the time have supply to it. I just previously had the sticky stuff, so I bought the sticky stuff again the second time around. So yeah, I remember taking like a fairly large amount of amphetamine the first time I had it. Probably like quite a bit on my finger, and taking that orally. I remember the effects not really hitting me immediately. I remember feeling anticipation and thinking that the effects would be similar to, say, caffeine. But yeah, I waited for the effects, and I felt like kind of a little bit of a body buzz. Not much of a body buzz, just a little bit as I was first coming up. I remember feeling a fairly intense sense of just being relaxed, essentially, like kind of rather than what I expected, which would be an anxious, edgy high. I felt quite calm. I felt quite good. Felt awake. Definitely would say awake. Felt like I had a lot of energy. Didn't feel like I needed to use the energy necessarily. Just felt like I had quite a bit of energy. Just felt comfortable. To me, thoughts were easier to come by. Concentration was much better. Was easier to sort of function and put complex plans together. I found less irritation with menial chores. For example, a lot of people say that they have fun cleaning the house while they're on amphetamines. I never really understood that until I took amphetamine, and I kind of see how menial stuff becomes much more fun, much less challenging. I found that counting and mathematics and studying were much more fun. I find that on some stimulants, like, you don't really want to study, you don't want to do anything productive, but I felt like amphetamine made me slightly more productive in both my mindset and physically. Made me just a little bit sharper, made me happier. Definitely felt a sense of comfort on amphetamines. Felt a little bit fidgety, a little bit warm. Not too fidgety. Definitely felt a lot of energy, but I didn't feel too much of a need to expel it. But there was some there when I was starting to get more into the amphetamine itself, and when I took a higher dose a different time. Remember when I was looking at stuff didn't feel real. Like, I knew it was real, but it didn't feel like it mattered as much. It just felt like everything was just an action rather than an action with meaning. But it wasn't a bad feeling of meaninglessness. It wasn't like, say, if you trip and you feel meaningless and it feels depressing. It was more like, oh, yeah, this is not meaningful. That's okay, and we'll continue this functional activity we're doing. I found I would repeat myself from time to time, get stuck in a bit of a loop on amphetamines, but not because I was actually stuck, just because I found this was a good way of going over and clearing a plan in my mind. I felt more focused and more into goal orientated activities with seeable outcomes. And yeah, overall I feel like amphetamine is a pretty good chemical. My personal recommendation for me, sorry to cut it so short, but I just don't have that much experience with amphetamines, is that I would probably take this as a study aid and an aid for menial tasks, but I don't feel like it would be something I do for days and days on end, because when I came off the amphetamines, I didn't feel bad at all. I just kind of felt a bit tired, or a bit like, just a bit away from the world, just a little bit away with the fairies. So yeah, sorry for such a short and not fulfilling experience report, but there's just not that much I've done with amphetamines really. Anyway, thanks for listening.